Hey, Dan Passarelli here. I was thinking about something today, and it was prompted by a Reuters headline, which was kind of interesting. The Reuters headline was something like, Trump says the Bloomberg article is not true. And I just kind of scratched my head wondering exactly what they were talking about. And it made me wonder, probably like the headline is supposed to, it made me wonder, well, did the reporter at Bloomberg make a mistake? Or is there something that's actually going on that Trump is denying right now because he doesn't want people to know what's going on? But if we know what's going on, we can trade better if we know it. So I took the clickbait, and I'm glad I did. It was about Bloomberg said, basically to paraphrase, that Trump has a short list, and at the top of that short list is U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. The short list is who is going to replace Jerome Powell as head of the Fed when Trump fires him. Holy crap, there's a lot to unpack there. Like, to start with, can the president even fire the Fed chair? Can anybody actually even fire the Fed chair? They can appoint them, and recommend them and that kind of thing, but fire them, I don't know if that's possible. But it leads you down this rabbit hole of what's really going on. Why would he want to? And we've seen all this stuff about Trump telling Powell, oh, it's too late. You've waited too long to cut rates. You've got to cut rates now. Cut rates, cut rates, cut rates. And Trump is pretty relentless about that when he's talking to Powell. And it makes you wonder, well, what's the rationale there, right? Because if right now the economy, it's been too strong, which is why we got a couple of rate hikes to cool it a little bit, which has so far worked and might look like a soft landing. We don't know. And that's all debatable and blah, 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 beyond the scope of what we want to talk about today. But if we cut rates too aggressively or too soon or both, then that would just heat up the economy and cause inflation to reverse course and go back higher. And if the Trump deals work out really, really great, like a lot of people are hoping they will, I know I'm hoping that they work out great, well, that could heat up the economy as well. And if interest rates are low and the economy gets heated up, holy cow, we could really get massive inflation. So why would Trump want the Fed chair to cut interest rates? Well, here's a theory. And I don't know. I can't put myself in the brain of anybody else, right? But here's a theory. What about because he wants to devalue the dollar? There's been a lot of talk about that from during election season, that Trump might want to do that. Once he was elected, that he might want to do that. Once he took office, they talked about that he might want to do that. But it's always just kind of just brushed aside. Maybe he wants to devalue the dollar. And how does that even work? Well, if interest rates are lower in the U.S., lower interest rates create less demand for the dollar and therefore makes the dollar weaker and therefore cheaper relative to other currencies. Okay, well, why would somebody want to do that? Doesn't that sound like a disadvantage? In some ways it might be, but in some ways it could be an advantage as well. When we talk about the trade deficit, well, if dollars are cheaper relative to other currencies, well, all these people were trying to make, well, all these countries were trying to make trade deals with. When they buy American goods, if the dollar is lower, they can buy more dollars for their unit of currency. Then that makes the goods they're buying cheaper. And it works the other way too. When the other currency that the dollar would be buying is more expensive relative to the dollar, then it costs more to buy those foreign goods. And it works to further balance the trade flow. So I don't know if that's true. It could be a pretty good discussion Well, that's kind of a little bit of a theory that I'm forming, and let's see how it plays out. Hope that helps. This is Dan Passarelli, Trade Smart.